aware of, actually.
They do, but they've been, it's like Gumby Jesus.
Hmm.
All right, I'm starting the
But
broadcast is started.
I wanted him in the, like the statue in Brazil. I suppose I wanted him in. What the hell is that statue called?
Oh, the
Something in Portuguese. Christ the Redeemer, I think is what it is.
Christ, that's it. The Christ the Redeemer. Yes, so he's right there. Beside Leatherface. I wonder if they have conversations at night.
I'm gonna social us here real quick.
Hey guys, have any of you guys looked at the comments to make sure there's nothing you want to skip?
Awake.
Looked at what? What are we talking about?
There's a show. We're going to be doing a show.
Do we need to talk about the LDX series, or I guess the Stylus 2? I mean, I don't really have any strong feelings about those. They seem pretty...
Yeah, they seem pretty boring.
I mean, those are we don't really have to talk about that. We can always talk about those if they are more interesting than they seem. We can discuss those.
We can mention if we're going to do the MWC roundup thing, we can mention those, I guess.
Yeah, that can go in there. We don't have to talk about the LG V10 thing I wrote. That's we don't have to. I'm just going to take that out.
That's fine.
I thought maybe you could just have your wife come on and talk about it, and you could do the whole he said she said thing live on the air.
That's true. I could bring her on here, but I seriously think she'd probably pass out.
That's entirely possible.
I mean, I really think that's a very oh, I forgot to turn my lower third on. There it is. Look at that. Let's see if I can move that down a little bit. Yeah. I need to maybe stand tall. My lower third is blocking my Jimmy Butler jersey, and it's really fucking up my chi, okay?
It's not blocking my Anderson Varejao jersey.
That's because you're not wearing your Anderson Varejao jersey. In loving memory. In memoriam. Anderson Varejao.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I should get a Kirk Heinrich jersey now.
So, by the way, the story was I bought that in 2009, I think, because I just really wanted to get a blue Cavs jersey, and I was going to buy a LeBron one, but I was like, you know what? There's a chance he's not going to be back after next year. And then, I felt pretty vindicated for a while, and then I felt unvindicated later. So I bought Varejao just because I didn't want to buy a LeBron jersey.
You know what? I like it. I think that's great. I'm good with that. Anytime... Also, pictures may exist online somewhere of me with hair that was actually my hair that looked an awful lot like Anderson Varejao's. That is terrible, and I feel really bad for you.
Yeah.
So, and that's the story of how Matt got his Anderson Varejao jersey.
I'm so glad we've gone on this epic journey.
We've got it cleared up.
Okay, let's start this program.
All right, so I'm gonna do the pre-roll for Linode, and then I have the mid-roll, which I'm just gonna play on my phone, and then
I don't know if you can see that or not. You see it?
Yikes!
My God, that is fantastic. That is so much better than Anderson Varejao's hair. Just so we're clear. Just so we're clear. You really need to bring that back. I mean, that is...
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll bring that back as soon as I bring that weight back. I weigh 90 pounds more than I did in that picture. I'm not even kidding.
You should buy a bike. I hear they help you lose weight.
I hear that too. But,
I mean...
I'll let David start since he really wants to start.
Okay, I'm trying to think of what else. So we got one voicemail, and then we have how many antiques?
3.
Wait, do we have a voicemail, or do we just have an email?
We have a voicemail.
Okay, it's not on the thing.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. I don't know if I deleted it or what, but I thought we had one from Matt, didn't we?
Yes, it's another one from Matt.
Can you find
it? I have it downloaded, so...
as long as you remember to play it, you can just,
I will remember to play it, and then we have
handle that.
The antiques business. Close this
interesting.
No, I didn't. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna have to rip the audio from YouTube because I'm using the computer I am normally recording on. Okay.
Sweet.
Is my volume okay? Like, am I okay talking at this volume?
It seems a little loud.
You sound lovely.
It seems a little loud.
It seems a little hot to me. I don't know. You know what? Hold on.
It's fine. It's maybe towards the top end of volume, but it's not like weird or anything. It's not unusually loud.
Just open the Dell Audio thing.
Although I think you should definitely type periodically throughout the podcast because it's really funny.
Where is the thingy? Okay, I'm gonna turn down. No, I would like some. How's this comparatively?
That sounds better.
Okay. Yeah. The microphone definitely has a lot of play with the gain. It's at like 39 out of 100. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get this Antiques Roadshow on the road. This week's Android Police podcast is brought to you by Linode. If you head to linode.com/AndroidPolice, you can sign up today and get a free $20 service credit.
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Thursday, February 18th, 2016. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm David Reddick.
Cameron Summerson.
I'm Ryan Whitwam.
And we are just a few days away from MWC. So I think we've got a big show, lots to talk about. We're going to start off with some Google news, not necessarily MWC related at all in any way, shape, or form. But the news this week coming out is that apparently Google is working on a new VR headset. New as in not Google Cardboard. That's what would make it new, because if it was Cardboard, it wouldn't be new. That's not new at all. That's old. So standalone headset. I'm guessing that means no phone is required. What do we know?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think it's supposed to be a VR headset that doesn't require a phone.
Yeah.
So it'll have like its own internal electronics and a screen and supposedly a camera. It'll be more like the Oculus or the
but without cords, right? It's going to be wireless, I would assume.
It won't need to be tethered to like a computer or anything like that. So I mean, it'll be more like a kind of like a Gear VR minus the phone installed inside of it,
plus a battery.
Yeah, plus a battery. So the rumor contained speculation that it would be shown off at I/O in May, and it will run a new version of Android. And we heard in the past that Android N will have some sort of specific VR support. So perhaps that will sort of tie in. Maybe they'll hand out VR headsets at I/O and say, all right, here's the dev build of Android N. Go home and play with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I wonder what they're really going to do to amp up the VR experience. Because, I mean, Google Cardboard is very, very basic as far as VR goes.
Yeah, I mean, you know what the thing about Cardboard is? It's very cool to demo VR stuff, but you can't really use it for more than a few minutes because your phone is going to get super hot and it's going to just destroy the battery. Like some phones will like just straight up like shut off if you have them in like one of those like fully enclosed fancier cardboard things. They just get so hot.
Yeah, makes sense. I'm guessing they'll probably try to optimize for the high resolution. I wonder what the resolution of it will be. If it's going to be above 1080p or if it's going to be quad HD or what the deal's going to be. Very curious to see what's like actually inside of it.
Yeah, quad HD screens are getting pretty cheap now. I mean, like mid-range phones are coming with them, so they could probably swing it and not make it too obscenely expensive.
That's true. I wonder what they're going to do as far as content goes. I mean, the existing cardboard content, okay, but there's no reason not to just use a phone for that, considering that's what the mass market's going to want.
Well, I mean, if they give it out at a developers conference, they're probably hoping that by the time they actually want to sell it to people, that there won't be things that people actually want to download.
But they gave out cardboard at a developer conference.
They did, but you know what? I keep saying this, and I continue to believe it's true. That cardboard was a joke when they handed it out. They're like, "Oh, this is funny. People will get a kick out of this." And then they realized, like, "Oh, people actually kind of want this. We should make it a thing."
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it definitely seemed like something that snowballed in a positive way.
Yes, VR suddenly became a big deal.
I'll be very
curious. Like it's the early 90s again.
Google does with this. I mean, the whole idea of having a new VR platform that's separate from Oculus and from whatchamacallit, Valve's, whatever the
The
platform
Vive
with
or
Vive,
Vive or whatever that thing
yeah,
is.
is, but obviously this would probably be more casual.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Google is probably just anticipating there's going to come a day when, like, VR companies are thinking like, hey, we should make a VR headset, and what'll it run? I guess it might as well run Android. So, Google's just trying to get out ahead of that maybe and say, like, look, if you're going to do that, this is probably how you should do it, so that they don't end up with a bunch of, like, weird, non-compatible, like, AOSP running VR headsets.
That's a point, definitely.
Man, anytime I try to use any sort of VR, God, it gives me the worst headache.
Oh, me too, though. Like, every time I try, I have to, like, write about a cardboard thing. Like, I'll use it for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I feel like shit for the next hour.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me too. I'm like, this sucks. I hate it.
I've never had that problem with VR, but I've never
See, I
used
think that
cardboard.
I think that it's cardboard. It's like it's a phone screen, like, an inch away from my face through, like, kind of crappy plastic lenses.
Although I have used Gear VR. The thing with Gear VR is certain experiences are fine, and some of them are like make me want to throw up immediately.
Mm.
But with Oculus and Vive, they've got that nailed down better. They understand what makes people sick, and they do not that. Basically, seems to be the directive. But some people are definitely much more sensitive than others. Definitely. Also, speaking of this, we know that since we're on the subject already, and we're going to talk about NWC rumors anyway, there'll probably be a new version of the Gear VR. I mean, we've got a meeting with Oculus, and we're going to talk about Gear VR. I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to say that, and I assume it's going to be the new Gear VR for the Galaxy S7.
The one for the S7.
And the S7 Edge, so it'll have to fit both of them. And I wonder if they're going to do anything, or if it's just going to be another minor refresh of the existing hardware. I don't know if there have been any rumors about that. Isn't Samsung doing they are coming out with a virtual reality camera, right? That was rumored.
Well, that was also a rumor, but I mean, no reason to think it's not true.
Yeah. So I would guess that it would make sense if they're going to do the VR camera to launch an updated version.
What I really
want
them to do is to come out with I want them to come out with a VR camera for my watch.
Yeah, so that you can, like, when you're on the slopes and you run into a lady, you can just, like, say, hey, baby, check out my watch. It takes VR pictures.
That's right.
Way better than that guy
just by holding your hand in the air and spinning it or something. I don't know.
Well, that pickup line is virtually foolproof.
Yeah, this is definitely going to happen.
All right, so we had a new Android commercial come out. So the way that they preempted the commercial on Twitter was interesting. So the Android team, the Twitter account, just started tweeting a bunch of C's, letter C's, in strings that represented words, assumingly.
I mean, I don't know who runs the Android Twitter account that thought this was a good idea, because everybody just thought, okay, they've been hacked, obviously, because this doesn't make any sense. It's just, the letter C over and over, and some of them are capitalized, and there's punctuation.
Is butt tweeting a thing? I thought butt tweeting, but I'm not sure if that's a thing.
And then eventually they wised up, and they started including a link to the YouTube video. And when you see the video and you see the tweets, you can sort of, like, piece together what they're getting at. Yes, it's another one of their Be Together Not the Same commercials. So it's like there's a guy playing the piano, and he's playing a pretty famous Beethoven piece. Like, everybody will recognize it, and, like, then he turns around and goes to another piano, and all of the keys produce the same note, and you're like, oh yeah, it's way better than when all the notes are different, just like Android, right? But so then, like, with the tweets, if it's all the same letter, then it's bad. It's kind of the same thing. And then, so yeah, they eventually explained what the hell they were talking about, but it was just a very bizarre way to promote the commercial, which is, I mean, it's a fine commercial.
I'm just going to throw it out there that whoever came up with this idea was probably on drugs at the time.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah, or but what if everything was a C? Everything is a C. Like, it's all C's.
Maybe they actually just went to Maybe they were on like a really long flight and they were on the second tier of this flight. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it wasn't drugs.
Yeah, maybe it was that
really
that dreamy, not quite awake, not quite asleep state.
See?
And then
That's
they wrote
what
it
I'm
down.
saying.
Yeah, definitely. This is inside pre-show joke that isn't honestly very, very, very funny. But
It's funny for us.
yes.
Sorry, everybody else.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm not.
Not really. No.
Not really.
We're not really sorry.
Hey, so let's talk about Gmail. Gmail is rolling out an update that has this new Gmailify option, which basically allows you to take any of your non-Gmail accounts and convert them basically into Gmail accounts, except, obviously they still won't be Gmail accounts, but you get your tabbed inbox, you get your, searchability, you get your whatever else, you get your Gmail functionalities in Hotmail and Yahoo. Whatever. Have any of you guys tried this out? Do any of you guys even have an email address?
Before we even talk about it, the tagline for Gmailify should be pretty much Gmail.
I don't even know what it means to have an email address that's not Gmail. Like, can somebody? What is that? Can somebody
It's to
explain
live
that?
a lesser existence.
Yeah, I definitely judge people when they give me a Hotmail address. Don't we all though? Like, why are you using Hotmail?
Yeah,
what has happened in your life?
I can see using Outlook. That's the one. I'm like, all right, I guess. Web Outlook, whatever.
But you can access your Hotmail account through Web Outlook, David.
You can, Matt. That's true.
But the whole idea of this is if you're going to put your non-Gmail email address into the Gmail app, which you can do now, you're probably doing it because you've had the address for ages and you don't want to change it. But at least this way you can get the Gmail sort of features, without, actually having a Gmail address. So, it has the spam protection stuff and, it does the social updates and promotions tab sorting, in search. And it'll plug into some of the Google Now cards so you can get reservations and stuff in Google Now, even if, you're using a Hotmail address, which is neat. But I think Google would probably prefer that people just had Gmail.
All third-party email services? Or
no, right now just Yahoo and Outlook /Hotmail, and they will add more later.
Okay, I'm guessing they're going to go by build.
Okay,
so there going to ever be services too, because if they allowed you to do any POP3 email address, then you could use your own custom domain email and not pay for Google Apps.
Well, yeah, but you could only get this stuff on a phone.
That's true.
Well, not entirely. Okay, so have either of you guys have you guys done it yet? I'm guessing not.
No. I don't.
Okay.
I don't have.
So here's how it works. Okay, so I download the APK. I have don't close your ears, David, because that's a thing. I have a Hotmail account, which I've just had forever, and I don't want to change it.
Collective crowd.
So I use my Gmail account for most things, but there's still things that I use. Like my Amazon account is still tied to my Hotmail for whatever reason. So I went ahead and I tied them together, and it actually, what it does when you do the Gmailify thing, it actually links it to your Gmail account. So my Hotmail account is now linked to my Gmail, and it's like I have a unified inbox that all has everything Gmail. And the cool thing about it, the thing that surprised me is when I did that, it actually, I did that, I linked it to my Gmail, but I use Inbox for my Gmail account. So I closed out of that, and then I opened Inbox, and now all my Hotmail stuff is in Inbox, and at first I hated it, and then I swiped all the crap away, and now I'm like, I love this now. This is the best thing ever.
Weird.
So it actually links your Gmail account to another account.
So is it forwarding your Hotmail into your Gmail account?
I'm gonna pull it up on the web because I haven't looked at it on the web since I did it. But it's.
Oh, Ryan, when two email services love each other very much.
Yeah, it's totally merged Inbox. It's completely merged.
Inbox
I'm guessing
is
what they do is they pull it in and then Google transmogrifies it and then somehow routes it directly into your Gmail account. Basically magic.
Magic.
So yeah, it's a cool feature. I mean, it's very exciting for people who don't use Gmail, I guess. But why would they want to begin using Gmail? That is really the key question here. What is going to get Grandma to switch from Yahoo to Gmail? I mean, it's a nice feature to have. I'll probably do it with my Outlook account that I've never used anyway. I probably won't do it because I'll just get more spam. But I might. Maybe.
Oh my goodness. So I just totally remembered that my phone only syncs X amount of time, and now I'm looking at my inbox, and there's so many things I have to mark done now. Like hundreds and hundreds of things I need to mark done.
Yeah, sometimes, when I'm feeling a little down, I'll just swipe away and mark everything done in my Android police email. Just, just once in a while.
No, I do that. I do that sometimes. Yeah. Sort by unread, select all, mark as read.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I archive everything because I like the nice big white space on my screen.
So, are you trying to tell me that you guys don't read every single email that comes into Android Police?
The only person that does that is Artem.
And he literally does that. Literally.
He really does do that. He really does that.
Yeah, but you could send us the stupidest thing, and Artem would probably insult you, but he would read it.
For sure.
Oh no, that is absolutely.
And the signature will say sincerely, Artem Ruskovsky, founder, Android Police.
Yes.
And he really is sincere about it.
He is very sincere.
I will tell you. So sincere.
Oh my goodness, I'm so mad that I looked at this now.
So we have we're going to talk about MWC stuff, I guess. The fact that somebody already has G5 and S7 in the UAE.
Yes, probably illicitly obtained.
Yeah,
Yeah, but so yeah, they look pretty much like have been rumored. The S7, I think it's an Edge model. It looks like. It looks kind of like the one. It looks like the S6, but slightly more curvy, like a little rounder on the corners. And then the G5 is kind of weird. Not the most attractive phone I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's got the fat chin, right? Or is there anything attached to this one?
I mean, I think that what looks weird, it has, so on the back, it's got a fingerprint sensor, like kind of where like the Nexus phones do. And then it's got a dual camera module, and then the buttons have moved back to the side. LG's been doing the rear button thing for a long time, and I guess this year they decided not to do that anymore.
Okay, this one doesn't look like it has a chin module on it yet, so I think what you're going to be able to do is swap out that bottom part.
Yeah, it is the unmagic slotted stock phone.
Yeah, and so when you put the chin on it, then it looks like a much bigger. So looking at these pictures, so right now with that chin on it, so like as I understand it, based on things I haven't seen, that whole LG logo area, that whole thing should like pop off, and you'll be able to put on a different thing there, be it a camera or some other stuff that they're going to release. So you'll be able to have like a higher end camera or something like that. I will find out very.
I mean, if you look at like the photos of the front, you can sort of see it looks like there's a little division in the casing where the bottom can just sort of pop off. You can see like the lines right along the edge.
Definitely.
So yeah, that seems entirely plausible, although maybe not the best idea.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, see what they do. It also is definitely not an attractive phone at all. This is definitely the ugliest phone LG's made in a while.
Yeah, it looks very old-fashioned to me.
It's got like a Nexus 5X fingerprint scanner slapped on the back, and then a camera module from like I don't even know. Like what is that thing?
It looks like the Evo 3D but sideways.
Yeah, I guess it is. It looks like something that belongs on like the windshield of a car.
If you look at the back of the phone, it looks like a surprised person.
It really does. It's like, oh my god, it's shocked that it's so ugly.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. And I'm curious to see what LG does with the slot thing, because I think it could be kind of, I mean, it could be totally stupid, but it could be
At
nifty.
least they're trying something new. I mean, like last year, we were all kind of incredulous at Samsung with the curved screen thing, but it turns out people really, really, really like those.
Yeah, I'm and then whereas with the S7 and S7 Edge, I mean, Samsung will sell a bunch of them, but I don't really, nothing I've seen makes me that excited about them. They got bigger batteries.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what people are going to be most interested in. I mean, it looks like the camera module doesn't like stick as high above the back as it does
Probably
on the
because the
A6.
phone is a little thicker. I would not be surprised because they
hopefully.
are
I mean,
supposed to be waterproofed.
Yeah, so I guess we will we will see how that goes.
Yeah, and then I mean, we got other stuff going on at MWC, so there's not been anything about Sony, so I don't think Sony's going to do a big phone reveal at MWC. I think we would have seen a leak by now. I think they're probably going to wait, or maybe skip a cycle or something. I'm not sure.
Or maybe, I mean, they're going to have an event. Maybe they'll announce new tablets or something.
Oh, are they? I haven't looked
pretty sure they have an event of some sort happening.
Interesting. Okay, so they do have a MWC. Okay.
Yes, you should know that as our man on the ground there.
Yeah, we never get invited to Sony's press conference because never do. Because Sony has no presence in the U.S., so they don't. Unless you're a blog with a Europe or Asia presence, it's they don't want it. They don't care. They don't want to talk to you. So, okay, if they do have a press conference, then it's possible they will do a new Z phone. Although the fact there haven't been any leaks is interesting. The Sony phones are usually leaked pretty extensively.
Well, maybe it leaked and nobody knew it wasn't the last year's or last model phone.
Yeah, because it looks just like all their other phones.
Yeah. And let's see. I mean, we know that Alcatel is going to have some new phones that accidentally leaked on their support site, so we'll probably see those. Those could be good for the money. Huawei's got a press conference. I think the consensus is that the Ascend, is it the P9 or P10?
I think P9 is the next one.
P9. I think the consensus is they're going to unveil that, which is going to be their high fashion, high end,
But is that going to be another non-US release?
Oh, almost certainly. There's never been a full regular flagship P, because we had the P8 Lite in the US, which was crappy.
Yeah.
But the P9 will probably have some. I think there's supposed to be something tricky going on with the camera on that phone, but I am not certain. I think it might have dual cameras or something. The whole dual camera thing coming back is kind of annoying because they never really did that much to begin with. I'm really not sure what the.
Did anybody do it other than HTC before this? I mean.
Yeah.
What, the dual camera thing?
Yeah, I think so.
There was a LG G phone that had dual cameras, wasn't there?
There was there's that era when there were all those 3D phones, and I think a couple of them had dual cameras to take videos. Like there was that it was like the.
It was the HTC Evo 3D.
Yeah, that was like the most popular of the 3D phones.
And then I think there was an LG one. I don't really remember any other ones.
There was. I can't remember. Optimus 3D, I guess. Oh, Thrill 4G is what it was called here. The Thrill 4G, and it had two cameras on the back. Yes.
Well, LG just announced that in that new X series, they announced the X Cam, which is going to have dual cameras. It's got a 13 megapixel on the back and a 5 megapixel on the back. I don't understand. What's the point?
Yeah.
I really don't get it.
Like, we've been doing this antique thing lately, and we're going to do some later. Like, if anybody has one of these 3D phones still sitting around, like, I would really like to send it.
Those are from the gold.
I really would like to talk about those. I'm just looking at a picture of the Thrill 4G right now, and I'm just like, how did anybody think this was a good idea?
That was a good time. So yeah, we got Huawei. They'll have a new phone. They might have two phones. It's always hard to tell what Huawei's going to do. And I think that's, for the major phone OEMs, that's it. HTC is not doing anything
Yeah,
here.
they're waiting longer to announce the M10.
So the M10 is not coming next week.
Yes, they don't want to get steamrolled by Samsung and LG.
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't think it's even going to be ready in time to begin with. So it's kind of a moot point as far as their plans here. It's possible they could announce a budget phone, but I don't necessarily even see that happening. So, and Lenovo will probably do some stuff. It's MWC. Lenovo always does some stuff.
Was Lenovo the one
Motorola.
who had the magician last year? Who had the magician?
Which magician? There have been several magicians.
There were so many.
There were so many magicians.
There were so many magicians.
The only magician I remember is the one Asus had like 3 years ago, and that was pretty good.
Oh, that
Well,
was
when you said it, it sounded familiar. I think it was LG. I think so.
But what else? Motorola is having this. We're going to go to this Motorola roundtable with Rick Osterloh and some other Motorola executive person, and they're going to talk about Motorola stuff. I don't think they're going to announce any new phones. Not that they really have a reason to. They're definitely mid-cycle on all their devices. So maybe something interesting will come of that. I'm not sure. And who else is there? I mean, we all know what's happening with Samsung, and then we all know what's happening with LG. And beyond that, I'm really not super sure what else we're going to expect to see. Because I could pull up our calendar here.
Is Qualcomm doing some big Snapdragon 820 love fest?
Oh, I'm sure they are. We have a meeting with them, and I'm sure they're going to say words to me about Snapdragon 820, and that they're going to be so much.
I'm sure they'll stress how totally chilly it is.
Yes, so chilly.
It has a built-in air conditioner. It comes with an ice maker.
I'm also going to go to this BlackBerry roundtable, which I'm sure is going to be an epic waste of time. But it's on Wednesday and nothing else is happening. We're also meeting with LeEco, which is they used to be called LETV, and now they're LeEco. I think I don't think it's LEEco. I think it's LeEco, but I'm not certain.
That was so weird because it was LETV, but all of their devices were Lay whatever.
Yes.
That was really confusing. I'm convinced that it was actually LEDV, but they just didn't want to say it.
Yeah, that whole company is weird. I don't think they're announcing anything new at MWC because they have their Snapdragon 820 phones coming out fairly soon. They'll probably have that here again. Maybe a little more finished. I don't know. I have hiccups. Oh, it's very. I'm in Spain right now, and it is. What time is it? It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
But what day is it, David?
I don't know.
What day is it? Is it yesterday? Is it today, or is it tomorrow?
I think it's tomorrow for us there.
It is. It is tomorrow for you.
You're living in the future, David.
How he has to go back.
9 hours in the future.
Oh, you know what? They're also gonna. Oh, you know what? At MWC, the Cat is gonna be there. They're gonna have that neat FLIR phone. You should definitely go and check that out and take thermal pictures of things.
That is a cool thing.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's a cool idea at the same time, though. I wonder, how many businesses would actually? I mean, I guess some would want to splurge.
Look, I mean,
it's going to be expensive.
Like, if your company is going to pay for a phone, and they're like, we get the Cat phones because they don't break as easily. Like, well, I guess I'll just get the one with the FLIR camera because why not?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's definitely some application for this kind of stuff. I mean, my dad works in some light industry stuff where thermal cameras have been used for years and years, and the idea of a highly portable thermal camera is decent, although they're not as accurate or they're not as good at measuring temperatures. And
I'm just going to point out. I'm just going to point out that is probably the nichest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like Cat's phones are not
they're pretty niche anyways. But so now what you're doing is you're saying, like, we're going to take the segment of phones who need highly ruggedized phones, and we're going to give the ones who need a thermal camera an option.
Yeah, I mean it.
And 3 people said, "All right." Okay.
I mean,
Nah, that's gonna be my main phone when it comes out. I'm totally gonna get one.
ignoring the thermal camera, like it actually looks like probably the best phone that Cat has ever released because it's actually running an updated version of Android and it has reasonably good specs. It's basically spec'd like a 1A9, but like with a gigantic battery and a thermal camera.
Any chance that we can see a Cat Nexus phone with a thermal camera? I mean,
I don't know. That'd be pretty great. Google should
can that happen?
And so
Google.
Scuttlefield brings up a good point here about this phone. I mean, which we're already talking. It's interesting, but the fact is, if you need a microbolometer, which is a thermal imaging camera, you're probably going to buy a good one and not one that's slapped into a phone. Although, if you're doing a lot of, if your job requires so much thermal measurement, maybe it could be handy just to have one that you can have in your pocket at all times. Because a big thermal is going to be something that you're going to, it's going to be larger than that. There are handheld ones that you like point and shoot, and there's a little screen on it. But those are, those are $1,000 plus to start. And Fleur is the company that makes most of them.
I think it could be really handy for people who are like amateur filmmakers and want to pretend they're a predator.
That's really the only reason I want one. I have always wanted to be a predator. I feel like sometimes I even run around my house going like this with my hands because it kind of makes me feel like a predator. But seriously,
Predator's mouth opens this way, not this way.
Oh my God, I've been doing it wrong my whole life. So you're right.
It's more like this.
That's so true. It really kind of flares open like a beautiful flower, only ugly and not a flower. But I used to work with these guys who they did like HVAC stuff, and they had like a remote thermometer. You could point it at something and it would tell you the temperature. I feel like something simple like the thermal camera would, if they're having HVAC problems in a big place, you can go in with the camera and just do a quick scan around. I don't know how those things work though. Just to show, oh, there's a hot spot over here, we need to go check this out. I don't know. Maybe I'm just completely, maybe I don't understand enough about how those things work.
You can actually use them that way. You can even use them to spot, like, if you have leaks in your walls and stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like
the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
What they're building into this phone, it's like exactly like the FLIR 1 USB camera you can buy. It's like $200 and it just plugs into the USB port on your phone. And and that works. That works well. It has like a visible light camera and the thermal camera, and then it overlays the images, so you get like a more contrasty sort of image instead of just all like the blotchy heat map thing.
Yeah. Because the blotchy heat map is like it's hard to interpret, and there is also the I'm forgetting the name. The other thermal dongle, the Seek.
Yeah.
That one has high resolution, but it's not as reliable, and it has more kind of artifacting going on because it's the sensor isn't quite as well tuned. So microbolometers, like the FLIR one, has like a resolution of what, like is 120 by 80 or something like that.
I'm not sure. I reviewed it. I should.
Yeah, I think it's surprisingly low because these are difficult devices to manufacture.
Yeah, I know that I think it scales up the.
It super samples everything when you're overlaying the video.
The files,
obviously.
the files that it spits out are 640 by 480.
Yeah,
but
that's
sensor has a resolution I think of maybe a quarter of that.
Yeah, something like that. That sounds about right. So yeah, they're interesting devices, but yeah, we're probably spending too much time.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about the Cat phone nobody's gonna buy.
So I think that probably rounds off our MWC rumor business.
Speaking of business,
we
should probably do some business right now.
We should.
Excuse us all.
Have you ever wondered who hosts AndroidPolice.com? No? Well, I'm about to tell you anyways because of this week's podcast sponsor, Linode. And Android Police has been hosted on Linode for over 5 years now, and we've been very happy with them. And that really is a big part of why they're this week's podcast sponsor, because we can recommend them wholeheartedly. For being a listener of the Android Police podcast, you can get a $20 Linode service credit if you go to linode.com/Android Police. That is LIN as in no, O, D as in dog, E.com/Android Police. And that $20 credit isn't a credit you can't use. That gets you 2 months of service on Linode's base tier, which costs $10 a month. Everything's billed hourly, but if you price it out per month, it's $10 per month for that basic tier. That gets you a gigabyte of RAM, a CPU core, 24 gigs of SSD storage, 2 terabytes of transfer capacity, 40 gigabits per second in connection on the network, and 125 megabits per second out, all for just $10 a month. Linode offers a variety of plans that scale all the way from 1 gigabyte of RAM and 1 CPU core to 96 gigabytes of RAM and 20 CPU cores. So they have something there for everybody, depending on your server needs. Linode has state-of-the-art servers. They've recently switched from Xen to KVM virtualization, which provided Unix benchmark increases of over 300% for virtual server performance. So they are fast. And that native SSD storage, coupled with a 40 gigabit network and processors, which are the new Intel E5 Xeon processors, which are very fast, offer you cutting-edge servers for not really all that high of a price. You get 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week support, even on holidays. There's a 7-day money-back guarantee for any service, and you can get a server running in under a minute. There are add-on services available for backups, node balancers, and Longview. Everything there to really meet your needs for a server. And like I said, if you head to linode.com/AndroidPlease and sign up today, you'll get that $20 credit and you can check out what Linode's all about. I mean, they host Android Police and we like them. So what have we got to lose?
Thanks again to Linode. And yes, that is a lazy way to do a live ad, but we're going to edit it back in with a proper file in post because of basically I'm remote and it's difficult to do it.
That was super pro. What are you talking about? That's the way all the big names do it.
I just want to say that I appreciated the fact that the whole time your screen was on camera, it was showing the episode from last week of our show, so it was like some self-promotion mid-show too at the same time.
Also David's resume apparently.
Yeah, it's all stuff that yes, it's all of my recent stuff. Let's see the bill of sale for my old car, the last 2 episodes of the podcast. It's all there.
All right, so we're going to move on to some announcements. This particular one just apparently couldn't wait for MWC. Archos announced a bevy of tablets on the super cheap running Android 6.0, which is, I don't know, not too shabby, I guess. It's no $4 phone releasing in India, but it's pretty close. So a 10-inch tablet for $175. That's if it's worth owning, I guess.
All right. If I'm gonna have my one mean thing to say in the show, shut up, Archos. Shut up. Go away. Nobody cares.
Yeah, they're not. They don't make good stuff. I don't think you should probably give them money for things.
I don't think you should give them any
because
money
you're gonna regret it. You could have spent that $175 on something else. You could have saved a little bit more and purchased a tablet that you don't hate.
Yeah, these are. We probably should have taken these off the spreadsheets.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
I
think it's valid that we need to point out to people that Archos makes poor quality things that they probably should not buy. Sorry, Archos, but.
Oh man, I remember when they came out with that gamepad thing that was kind of like a PSP, but with the Android and an SD card slot, and God, it was just so bad. I relish in how bad that thing was. I don't think it ever did because it was.
I was going to say I think it got delayed.
Yeah, Archos prototypes so many things and demos them, but then 3/4 of them actually never come to market.
They're like Samsung, who doesn't actually.
No,
follow
it did.
through.
Oh my God, it totally did come out.
What was it called?
Just the Archos gamepad.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's a good name.
7-inch screen. Oh my God, your games will look amazing on the 16 million color 7-inch 1024 by 600 pixel screen. It's 5-point capacitive. What? That sentence doesn't even make sense.
It's the cheapest thing we could buy.
It's so perfect for your touch anywhere games too. That makes the game sound kind of like thumbsticks.
Those thumbsticks look terrible.
Although they did have this thing that was a lot like the NVIDIA controller mapping before the NVIDIA controller mapping.
They totally did. Yeah, that was actually pretty. What? There's a gamepad too?
Yes.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 12. It's 1280 by 800.
Oh,
Big
snap.
dog, big dog Archos up in here. 2 gigabytes of RAM, quad core CPU, and Jelly Bean. When did this come out?
Jelly bean.
I need to know when this came out. I'm going to look it up.
I wonder if the Gamepad 2 ever did come out. I remember them announcing it.
It's on
Here's
their
a-
website.
Here's a fun fact: Archos actually released a press release for the Gamepad 3, but it was an April Fool's joke.
No way. Are you serious?
Not done well when announcing the sequel was a joke.
Oh wait, no. I think it was another blog. I think it was a blog that did it as a joke, and somebody else picked up on it.
Yep, that sounds about right.
I like to think that it was Archos that made a joke out of their own product.
Archos would never do that. Archos is very serious about their being serious.
So, yeah, the Gamepad 2 came out in August of 2013.
Oh my.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. In August of 2013, it was revealed that Archos is working on a successor called the Archos Gamepad 2. That's all there is to it, though.
Oh, okay, so it never actually came out then.
I guess. Well, no. Here's
Well, here's
YouTube
a review of it.
videos. And
From the end of 2013, there's a review. It got 3 out of 5 stars on Tech Radar.
I guess.
I'm looking it up on eBay.
That doesn't say very many good things about Tech
Archos
Radar.
Gamepad 2. Here it is. 16 gigabytes Wi-Fi.
$300.
You can buy it now for $300 with a 64 gigabyte micro card.
Or you can set your money on fire.
But listen, right below that, for $4, you can also buy 2 clear screen protectors for the Archos Gamepad 7.
Oh, and they
And-
cover the button section as well. That's impressive.
They do. They cover the whole thing. This
It's
is-
actually just some cellophane, and you just wrap up the entire tablet in cellophane.
And then you wrap up your face, so you can forget that the whole thing ever happened.
Wow, that got dark incredibly fast.
Yeah, I'm good at that. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
Yes.
The Archos Gamepad 2, you probably won't asphyxiate yourself.
comes with anti-suffocation screen protectors.
Oh, this is awful.
I like
So, I think Ryan had some words about
Did I?
Moto 360 Sport.
Yes, the Moto 360 Sport. More than likely, you should not buy it because it's the same price as the small Moto 360 second gen, and it's not as nice. It's got a transflective LCD, which is cool if you spend a lot of time outside. But I mean, it has GPS. Those are really the only 2 things that make it, maybe a little bit better in some ways. But it's got kind of a cheap feeling silicone band that does not come off. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, but it definitely does not look or feel like a $300 watch. And the battery life is not really any better than the regular one. Maybe it gets like a few more hours of battery life. But the transflected display is non-backlit in ambient mode. It's just like the smartwatch 3, so you can't see it like in a dark room until you wake the watch up. I would have thought that would make the battery life much better, but it doesn't really. So for $300, you should not probably get this.
Huh.
Yeah, so basically, it's the smartwatch 3 for double the amount of money.
Yeah, pretty much.
And also, it doesn't have a heart rate sensor, right?
Oh, it does. It does.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, it's on the bottom. It's just like the regular Moto 360. And I mean, it actually seems a little bit more accurate to me than the regular Moto 360. But
See, I was all on board to buy that too, because I really want a round smartwatch with a transflective display, because I'm tired of my Sony smartwatch.
yeah, but I mean, the aesthetics of this watch, I don't think it really. You should buy it because I want a round watch that'll look better, because it doesn't really look that great. It looks pretty cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it
just gonna
does.
keep
That's
wearing.
kind
I'm
of
just
the
gonna
vibe I
keep
got.
wearing my. I'm really hoping that new Casio watch doesn't suck, but I already know it's probably gonna not be great.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty chunky, but
I'm hoping. I'm holding out hope that it won't be terrible.
When I saw the 360 Sport CS, which is the first time I saw it in person, I almost thought I was looking at pre-production units, because the fit of the bands does not seem good on the body. It looks kind of yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's sort of like you can tell there's a little bit of of the body of the watch extending out into where the silicone connects, because it kind of, I don't know if you could tell, like it sort of like hovers slightly over top of my wrist. So I mean, but I have small wrists, so I don't know, if you have like a larger wrist, it might not even matter. But I mean, it doesn't look or feel like a really nice watch, and there's like it's little things like the button is plastic instead of metal, like on the regular 360, and it just doesn't. I mean, it just doesn't feel like I would expect a $300 watch to feel.
Plastic because sports.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you certainly can't get metal wet ever.
Yeah. Meh.
Yeah, it seems like kind of a half-hearted effort on Moto's part.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that they released it, because it took them so long to get it out the door, like after they announced it, and then it was like a month after it came out in the UK, it launched in the US, and they were very pokey with sending out review units. I think they kind of knew it wasn't super good.
Yeah. I'm going to guess they're not going to sell too many of those.
Yeah. Yeah, not until, you know what, if they start doing some big price cuts on it, like if you could get this for 150 or 200, then sure, go for it.
Maybe I'll wait. Maybe I'll buy one when they're 150. I'm pretty sure that's what I paid for my smartwatch 3 anyway. Either 100 or 150. I got a pretty solid deal on it. I waited for Google
Keep an eye
to
on
run
keep an
some
eye on
sort of
like
promotion.
Swappa and eBay. Someone will eventually sell one.
Yeah, I'll wait till I can get a new one for that price though. If I'm buying
So,
new, it better be.
it's really obnoxious that the band is not swappable.
That
Yeah.
that
Weird.
really
And it comes in black, white, and orange. Like the orange is like I don't know. Some people might be okay with that, but how often are you gonna want to wear a blaze orange smartwatch every day? The black one is like it's fine. It's very basic. And the white one, according to my wife, it looks very feminine, and she doesn't think I should wear it outside where people can see. So I don't know.
What? See, the white is probably what I would buy. That's what I wish I had. The white.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks fine, but I mean, several women have told me that it looks very feminine. So I don't know. I don't know about these things.
I mean, what do women know about things that look feminine? I mean, seriously. I don't feel like no.
Women thinking they know things about women.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't even know what this world is.
Well, shall we move on to voicemail?
Matt is muted. He doesn't know though.
Oh.
Don't tell me that I'm muted when I'm not. I was mouthing words so that you wouldn't hear them, because I thought it'd be funny.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to voicemail.
Hello, gentlemen. This is Matt with his unending list of questions. My question today is around actual calling. I've long held that a smartphone is a computer first and a phone second, which may be why the last few phones I've had have had mediocre call quality, especially related to the speakerphone. Certainly worse than my old Motorola Razr. So question number one, do you agree with this assessment? And question number two, now that we're starting to get multi-core and specialty chip on phones and specialty sensors, is it possible that we might get a renaissance in call quality itself on our smartphone? Thank you very much, gentlemen, and have a great day.
So, you know what? I have a relevant recent story. So I was doing a phone call like last Friday on my Nexus 6P, and I figured, you know what? It's got dual front-facing speakers. The speakerphone should be like loud as all hell.
Hey, was this a pre-call for a product pitch by chance?
It wasn't a yeah, it was. It was that email that so I was using the Nexus 6P, and I figured, because whenever I watch like YouTube on it, which sometimes I do, like if I'm in the bathroom and I want to watch a YouTube video, guess what? The Nexus 6P has some loud speakers. But when you're on a conference call, when you use speakerphone Nexus 6P, only I think only the top speaker emits sound, because if the bottom speaker emitted sound, the microphone would pick it up, and it would be annoying for the other person. So it was rather quiet, and I was quite annoyed by this. Whereas a lot of other phones that only have one speaker have very loud speakerphones. So it's definitely a feature that gets less attention than maybe it deserves. People have phone calls. It's been known to happen.
I get like extremely annoyed when I have to take a phone call. I dislike phone calls strongly.
I have to take and make so many phone calls every day for personal reasons. It is ridiculous. So yeah, and I use speakerphone a lot because I will be damned if I'm going to make a call and hold for 45 minutes with my hand like this or my shoulder like this. No, the phone lays on the desk. So yeah, I don't think I've actually done that since I got my 6P, but so
You know,
I'll
actually,
have
that's
to
a good point because
be
I
disappointed.
was just thinking about the fact that every single time I've used speakerphone, it sounded absolutely terrible. But now that you just mentioned that, I realize that every single time I've used speakerphone, I've been listening to hold music, and I don't know if the call quality's been terrible or if the hold music is terrible.
I do,
It could
yeah.
be either or.
Well, the thing with hold music, especially when you're on speakerphone, the hold music cuts when it detects the microphone usually for most hold services. So like if you want to input a voice command, if there's like one available, or if somebody's listening online, I guess I don't know. But I found that if you talk while the hold music is playing, or if noise comes through, the hold music like stops coming through.
Yeah, I always mute my mic too when I'm on hold because I'm always freaked out that somebody's recording or some weird shit is happening. I'm like super paranoid about it. I'm like, oh hell no, nope. I'm muting my mic too, so you can't hear the words that I'm saying. Because what if I'm talking shit about how long I've been on hold and then you make me wait longer? No.
Yeah. So call quality is it's a hard one to judge because I think what's going to happen is once HD voice becomes ubiquitous, which it will eventually, we're getting there. It's probably going to be another couple years or a few even here in the U.S. But once that happens, I mean, if you're on T-Mobile and you call a T-Mobile subscriber, you already have probably, and using T-Mobile phone that supports the wideband voice, you already know what that's like. Sprint has it too. They have for a while. And so the call quality on those calls should be pretty great. I've had a couple of VoLTE calls on AT&T, and I was definitely surprised at the overall improvement. So I think that a lot of it just comes down to getting off the old legacy narrow band voice codec, or the analog voice system, because that's just what makes call quality really so abysmal. Loudness is a good gauge of something working right. Or no, I don't know what I'm saying. Loudness is good when you need it, but really it's better to have clarity because then you don't need as much loudness. So the speaker doesn't have to be as loud if the call is clearer, because it's easier to pick up basically the audio contrast, when the clarity is better because you have less background and interference coming through. There's more signal, less noise, basically. So I think it's something that's going to improve, hopefully, over time.
All right. Well, if nobody has anything to add on to that, I'll move on to the emails. So our first email is from Beast, apparently.
The X-Man?
Well, I was thinking the Disney character, but X-Men sounds way cooler, so we'll go with that.
Let's just say
Beast
this is from Dr. Hank McCoy.
Dr. Hank McCoy says, so I'm amped about the S7 mainly because it's rumored to bring back the SD card, and if so, I have a 128 gigabyte card waiting for it. However, I've heard something about not being able to remove/hot swap SD cards with 6.0 because of the way Marshmallow handles SD cards. Can you shed some light on this? Will we lose hot swappability because it may create havoc with the system memory? Thanks, and keep up the awesome work.
Okay, I really want to know what you're doing hot swapping 128 gigabyte micros.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's got a huge media library. But you can do it either way. You can, when you put an SD card into a Marshmallow phone, either adopt it as internal storage, which encrypts it and makes it part of the system, and you can't remove it without breaking all of your apps, or you can just run it as regular removable storage. And then you can hot swap it to your heart's content.
And then obviously even once it's encrypted, you can't just take the card out of the phone when it's off and plug it into your computer and transfer stuff because it's encrypted.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a pain if you adopt storage and then you want to get a bigger card, but he's already got 128 gigabyte card, so not likely. But I mean, if you're using a smaller card, you decide you want a bigger one, you have to have enough internal storage on the phone to transfer everything back onto the phone and then put in the bigger card, because if you just take that card out, all of the app data for your apps stops working, and you'll lose data, and it's just kind of a mess.
Yep, and the Android will have an aneurysm. So
Yes. So I mean, you can definitely still hot swap it if that's what you want to do, or you can just integrate it with the system and have like a much larger block of storage in the phone.
yep. So and yeah, the S7 will have a micro SD slot. It's basically confirmed at this point. So yeah.
All right, and we have not one, not two, but 3 antique submissions this week. So,
Oh boy.
Do we wait? We haven't played the theme music. Did nobody do that? We were supposed to do that.
It's
Okay,
3:20 a.m.
Next
I'm
time.
not doing
Next
that.
time we'll get that theme music going.
all right, so our first submission is an HTC Hero. Wow. We
No,
got
wait,
some
is that
really
is that the
old
first
antiques.
one, or did we lose one?
The Nexus S is the first one on our list.
You know what? That's what happens when you scroll too far.
Yes.
I've
Yeah.
heard that.
First antique is the Nexus S, which
First antique is the Nexus S.
is what came out at the end of 2011, 2012. Can't remember.
That would be 2011, yes, because
Yes, this was
Honeycomb was in 2011.
Yes, this was the second Nexus phone, the one that we didn't know was going to exist because Eric Schmidt was out there flapping his gums about how they didn't need to make another Nexus phone after the Nexus 1 did not sell very well. But then suddenly one day there was the Nexus S.
Or was it, when did the Nexus S come out? I feel like late 2011 isn't right, but maybe I'm wrong.
I guess maybe it was late 2010.
It was late 2010. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the Nexus 1 came out in very early 2010.
Wasn't it exclusive to Best Buy in the U.S.?
It was, yes. You had to go to a Best Buy store to purchase it at first, and it only had T-Mobile's 3G bands. And then later there was an AT&T banded version of it that you could buy. I forget where, maybe just online places, probably not actually.
There was a Sprint version as well, wasn't there?
Yes, the
Yeah.
Nexus S4G. It had WiMAX.
Yeah, whenever I think of the Nexus S, the first thing I think of is the Sprint version for some reason.
And it had was it the first one with NFC? I think that was like its big experimental feature.
And the NFC didn't really
Yeah, it didn't do anything. You could buy like tags, NFC tags, and like write stuff to them, but there was no useful reason to have NFC at that time.
So the one that's been sent in to us is actually for us Americans an oddity because the Nexus S in America, and I think maybe some other markets, but not all, had a AMOLED display, but in Europe it had a Super LCD.
This was the Super LCD version. Oh, weird.
Yeah, which
I don't know how to value that. Is that better or worse?
I would probably say better because
better
the
now,
AMOLED
because
burns in.
Yeah, the AMOLED. Yeah, you know what? Actually, that was back in the kind of bad days of Samsung's AMOLEDs, because I remember I had a Nexus S, and it was kind of blotchy from the start. You could sort of, when you had like a gray background, you could see little specks all over, and I saw several Nexus S units around that time, and they all kind of had a couple weird AMOLED oddities. So maybe yes. So I guess we'll value the LCD higher than the AMOLED edition.
Yeah, it's funny that this phone has. I've completely forgot there was still a search button on this phone.
I was just thinking about that the other day because I was writing something about the OK Google hot word, and I was like, oh man, there was a time when if you needed to search, you just hit the search button on the phone.
I'm not gonna lie, I still miss the search button.
I do too sometimes. I do too. Like I'm reviewing this blue phone that's coming out really soon that I'm sure everybody probably already knows what it is at this point. But there's this stupid thing in the settings where it doesn't show all the settings. And anyway, I'll bitch about that in the review. But I'm like, okay, I know these settings are here because other apps can call on them, but I can't find the settings myself. So I wanted a search button so I could just type in what I'm looking for. It's the only time in so long that I've missed the search button. But yeah.
All right. So does anybody want to throw a dollar amount on that bad boy?
I am going to say, I would say $40 or $50 because it is the LCD version.
I'm gonna say $62.
I was gonna. All right, fine. I'm gonna say 65.
Ooh. Okay, so now we have to actually find one.
I
Well,
feel
we're not
like
gonna find the LCD version on eBay. It's not. Nobody even knows the difference who's selling one.
Yeah, well, we can estimate though. We have to find at least the.
You know what? It's looking. I'm seeing a lot in the 30 to 50 range.
I see one. Okay, well, this is the 4G one for 42. Oh, this is the AT&T version for 39. I would say the AT&T version is similarly rare, just because it came out so much later. So I mean, I think like $40 or $50 is probably. I think I'm right. That's what I think.
I think
That's
what we're finding throughout this entire experience is that used phones go for roughly $30 to $50.
Well, I mean, we have. It's just sort of that's where things come to rest, I guess, when something is old enough that almost nobody cares about it.
So I just want to point out that Swappa actually does differentiate by part number, and they have the unlocked international version for $55.
Ooh, I would believe that. So it's like a $50 or $60 phone. So maybe Cameron's the winner of this one.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Good for
One
me.
point, one meaningless point for Cameron.
So the
All right, so the next one
item
is
very
HTC.
old.
Oh yes, this is a phone very near and dear to my heart in that I personally hate it a lot.
Oh man, these phones are it's so thick.
It is the Sprint version of the HTC Hero.
Well, they made a Sprint version?
Yeah, that's what this is. Yeah. This
Wow.
is the
Okay. There's
US.
Sprint
This
Hence
is
the
the US.
Sprint logo in the top corner.
I've
Yeah,
not
see
seen
the,
that picture yet, Matt. I was getting there.
look up just Google HTC Hero like unlocked or European or whatever. It looks completely different. It is a completely different phone. You will probably immediately recognize it.
This thing is so fat. Like, it is so. I mean, it's
I've had flip phones thinner than that.
Yeah. So
it is
okay, look.
almost as thick as it is long.
So like the International Hero, like it was one of the first phones that had Sense on it, and when it came out, it was kind of neat because it had the HTC chin kind of going on, but it also it was like it didn't have a keyboard, so it was like a single piece, and it was kind of fun looking and quirky. But then the Sprint version did not have that. It's this weird rounded thing with the gigantic trackball and the weird button layout. And I actually purchased this phone. This was the first Android phone that I bought because I at the time I had an iPhone and I was super sick of it. And I tried to use this phone. I tried to make myself do it, and I couldn't. It was just so bad, so bad, so bad. I value this at $0, negative $10.
I'm gonna say 21.
I mean,
$21.
I would look less than 20. I don't think anybody wants this phone.
Saying $15. Wow, you can find them for under, well, bid-based ones under $10 so far. But it looks like here's one for $14. No SIM CDMA Sprint version, $14.
Yeah, man. Oh, jeez.
And it works.
It was, this was back from the time when they still put with Google on the back of all the Android phones to remind you, like this is Google.
It has the Google.
System. Yeah.
Swappa is showing the Sprint version for $30.
Oh, Swap is full of it. There's no way.
Who are those? Yeah, who are those people who paid $30?
Apparently, somebody bought it for $35 in September of 2015. Wow. It sold for $30 in October of 2015, and again for $30 in November of 2015.
Wow, that's pretty recent.
Would you like some more pricing data? Because there's a link here I can click.
I'm good. I'm going with this eBay rated $14 version. It looks
It seems
roughly.
more realistic. Seems more
As
likely.
I recall, like when this came out, it had I think it had maybe cupcake or donut, and then eventually they updated it to eclair. But it was one of those things that HTC used to do back in the day, where you had to completely delete everything on the phone and flash a full system image to update it.
Also, it has a proprietary charge port.
No, it was it has it's still pin compatible with mini USB, I think.
Oh, is it?
It's like an EXT USB, but you can plug a mini plug into it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was a thing for a while in early Android phones.
Man, I don't miss the days of proprietary chargers at all, though.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm reliving those days now, though, with USB-C.
Yeah, really.
I'm at that point where it's like I
I
have.
swear, if the S7 or the G5 don't have USB-C, I'm gonna be really upset.
I will be absolutely just. It will boggle the mind if they don't. I mean, it will be I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine.
So, our next antique is a far better and more rosy look into the past, but it's also an HTC device.
Yes, it is the venerable HTC Dream, also known as the T-Mobile G1.
Good phone.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of by default a good phone because it was the only phone for like a year. It was the only Android phone that existed for a very long time. Man, the keyboard was actually not bad. Like even looking back, like as far as hardware portrait landscape keyboards go, it wasn't bad. It was kind of awkward that it shifted over. Yeah, it shifted over to one side, but I mean, the buttons were reasonably good. It's a real ugly phone though.
It is.
It's real.
It really is. But
I'm going to be honest, the slider mechanism on this phone was about the chintziest feeling thing ever.
It had like a Sidekick kind of feel, but like not as tight.
Yeah.
Also something great from the email. This phone apparently didn't have a headphone jack.
Yeah, it didn't. It was that was what EXT USB was. Like it had a plug that had the extra pins for audio, and then it had a little adapter you could plug in.
That's
stupid.
Yeah.
But
hey, that's gonna come back to bite us with Apple.
I know.
Turns out that's true.
The headphone
technology just comes full circle.
I can't believe it. Like I'm losing my mind over the fact that Apple's gonna. It's a completely different discussion though.
I bet that this phone is worth a little bit more just on the basis of it being the first Android phone. I bet people still buy it. I would guess $60.
But this thing had, ROM support for years and years.
Yeah, I think you can probably still update it to something pretty recent. Did I think to see email say what it's running some weird? Oh no, I guess that was one of the earlier ones. But I bet if I Google right now, I can probably put Marshmallow on it.
Probably. I'm gonna say that still. I'm gonna go with $55.
Everybody can see Matt's email. Well, we can see Matt's email.
Yep, because screen sharing is still on. Well, somebody in the chat had asked if we had gotten their intake device, and I was looking to see if a new one came in.
Well, we already have 3, so if there's another one, we can.
I'm guessing this person started listening recently. We probably already went over it. If it was the Nexus S, we already did that. If it was the G1, we already did that.
No, we just got one 13 minutes ago, but we'll have to hold that one for next week.
We'll hold it for next week.
We have already gotten.
So let's find out how much this thing is.
I'm gonna looking here. It's a pretty wide range of prices. Anywhere from like $15 all the way up to like $50.
I am kind of surprised by that. I would have figured that it would have held its price a little bit. Like you get a white one for $30. I'm kind of tempted to buy one. Yeah. I'm thinking about it. I might buy this white G1 for $20.
Yeah, I mean, I would think it would hold its value as a keyboard phone. That's what I would assume.
It's been kind of banged up though. That's why it's $20.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess
the buttons are all busted. Ooh, wow. Bronze. I could get a brown G1.
Ooh.
Yeah, That is hot.
Oh my God! So preview for next week. One of our antique submissions is it's an iPod.
I've seen one of those before.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, the story on the G1, worth less than you would have thought.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought I would have held its value better for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well,
But
there
I
we
guess
go.
not. So that I think that rounds up for
That rounds us up.
stuff.
Hey, so if you at home have an antique device that you would like to send in to have us either ridicule or admire or at least value, you can send it to podcast@androidpolice.com, and we'll put it on the show. And you can also give us a call with any questions you have at 530-HELLO-AP. That is 530-435-5627. You can also find us on Twitter at Android Police and on Google Plus and Facebook.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm looking at this antique submission. I'm very excited about this HTC phone. It's from a very weird time in HTC.
I didn't get an additional one. Did it just go to AP and not to podcast?
No, it went to tips.
Yeah. I didn't get that. Would you mind forwarding it to me so I can put it on the outline for next week?
I will do that.
Yeah, look at this thing. Oh yeah, so it's the HD2. Didn't that run? Oh, so that's Beats Audio. So that is.
We can discuss this next week.
Yeah, we don't need to get into details
all right,
now.
Sorry,
We're gonna save it.
All right, so I'm going to stop the broadcast.